Let's go to Geelong. They've lost Gary Ablett Jr., but they've still got Senator Sarah Henderson. Thanks for joining us again, Sarah.
Oh, Chris, it's great to be with you. I just wish I could run as fast as Gary Ablett. We will really miss him next year, that's for sure.
Yeah, I reckon he'll be around the place. Now, tell us about this budget. I mean, it's just extraordinary that all the governments around this country just seem to think that because of the coronavirus, we can just borrow endlessly $155 billion state debt within 5 years.
Yes, it is a monumental amount of money for the state, of course, but we are in unprecedented times. I think the big concern, and certainly the state opposition has raised this, Chris, is the way the money is being spent. There's a $50 billion transport infrastructure spend, but we have seen no details. And I know that one of the big concerns that our government has had is the pace of infrastructure investment in Victoria. We have announced at long last the investment in the Melbourne Airport Rail Link, in Geelong Fast Rail. We're making a very substantial contribution to that, and those plans are now underway. But as a regional MP, I have to say, Chris, the rollout of infrastructure, roads and rail and airport is really very slow in Victoria, and we really need to see that pace accelerating.
Well, a lot of that is good, and we say the same in New South Wales, where there's a state government of a different persuasion. A lot of the economic infrastructure, transport infrastructure, is a good investment, especially when interest rates are so low. But it's just the overall level of debt and the annual budget deficits are such a worry. Let's have a look at the State Treasurer, Tim Pallas, explaining all this today.
Our challenge is great, but our will is greater. Victorians will persevere, prevail and prosper together. This budget is our declaration of resolve.
Yeah, no one doubts that there are real challenges here. The federal budget has gone deep into the red, and you're looking at $1 trillion debt within 5 years. But the problem is, all of this is predicated on future generations paying this back in taxation. Interest rates could change. Economic circumstances could change. We could face another pandemic. Where is the caution?
Well, Chris, I think our government's response to the pandemic has been absolutely critical. We've seen a massive bounce back in jobs, in our economic recovery, and of course our health response is driving what we hope will be a vaccine available to Australians by March of next year. There's no doubt that we are pinning a lot of hopes on a vaccine, and of course we always have to plan for a pandemic. But Chris, I really want to remind your viewers that it was our planning, including in relation to really important measures like telehealth in the context of our pandemic plan, that enabled us to roll these measures out so quickly. And of course, we stand amongst very few countries around the world with an exceptional response and performance to this pandemic. And I think all Australians can be very proud, despite the very significant troubles we have had in Victoria, of course.
Now, I want to ask you about something that I don't think has been getting enough attention, and that is the fact that Australians are not allowed to leave the nation. It seems an incredible infringement on our rights that people can't just decide they want to go overseas, risking themselves, I suppose, how long they're going to have to stay there and when they might not be able to get back through hotel quarantine. Why are those restrictions in place? Why shouldn't Australians be allowed to leave?
Well, there are, of course, a whole range of exemptions, Chris, but from the very beginning, our government has made it very clear we are all about saving lives and livelihoods, and those measures that we introduced are a very important part of our response. We expect, of course, that to obviously alleviate by early next year, and as I say, great news with the progress on a possible robust vaccine from AstraZeneca. Obviously, the latest trials are showing a great deal of progress, and we are really crossing fingers and toes on that. But those measures, Chris, have been very important. We now have a situation where we only have 95 active cases across the country, and in Victoria, would you believe, no active cases at all, which is a great result despite the huge pain that we have gone through. So we are implementing some pretty tough measures to make sure we can get through this as quickly as possible, and it's a critical part of our economic recovery plan.
Yeah, the vaccine, of course, is so important and everything looking quite prospective there. I want to show you now a picture of the new leader of the Liberal Party in Western Australia. His name is KIRKUP. And after being elected Liberal leader, he came out the front here, and you can see in this picture, showed everyone an old young Liberal business card that he used to have and presented apparently once to John Howard, and it says that he's a future Prime Minister. Is he going to be your new boss?
Look, I love Zach's confidence. He certainly clearly is not short of confidence, but clearly he cannot be Prime Minister as a WA Member of Parliament, and I don't think Scott Morrison is under any sort of threat as yet. But as I say, a good shot of confidence.
It's those secessionists in Western Australia. They're actually going to do it, and he's going to be Prime Minister of Western Australia.
Yes, maybe they want to continue that, that plight to create their own country in WA. I don't know. But as I say, look, congratulations to Zach. And as I say, it's great to see that confidence.
Thanks for joining us, Sarah. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great to talk with you, Chris.
And mentioning the great John Howard, it was 13 years ago today that his government ended, November the 24th, 2007, when he was voted out.